Peace, Earthlings. If you're watching this video, that means you've elected to tune into my blog/vlog, kinetabolics.blogspot.com. Thank you so very much for checking it out. My name is Salim Watt, aka B-Boy Don't Blink. Today, being Saturday, September 14th, 2013, I decided to share with you my workout both visually and narratively in hopes that doing so will help those of you watching to inspire your own creativity in the gym, or challenge you to try some of the unorthodox methods that I use, or even just get a sense of my individual approach to fitness that continues to evolve as I evolve. Or if you just think that my form is good, if that helps you, then the purpose of this video being made will not be in vain. Generally speaking, I tend to alternate my routines each day. Weights today, and then body weight workout the next day, and then back to weights, so on and so forth. As you may have noticed in the title of this video, today was my shoulders and back split routine. As you can see, I started off with deadlifts, which has recently become one of my favorite exercises to do, in spite of the fact that it was what initiated my back injury I suffered in late July. I suffered a pulled muscle in my back doing deadlifts that I tore a couple days later while stretching before the pulled muscle actually healed. I do love to lift heavy. That is my adrenaline rush, and it keeps me focused and interested in achieving new strength goals. That's my personal challenge in the gym. Here I begin my deadlifts relatively light, just 5 reps to get warmed up with just a single plate on there. As far as my stance, I do what works for me. My stance when doing deadlifts is pretty much shoulder width. As far as grip is concerned, with weight quantities that are more manageable for me, say like in my first 2 sets, I tend to use what's commonly referred to as the double over grip. However, when I got into my heavier quantities, like with the 3 plates to each side, I used what's known as the over-under grip. When doing my max weight, like you see here with the 4 plates, I'm strongest with the over-under grip, where my left hand's in the under position and my right hand's in the over position. However, when I've initiated the over-under grip on the 3 plates, I consciously do it so that my right hand's in the under position and my left hand's in the over position, so that I gradually begin to build strength, so that hopefully I'll be able to switch between both each set on my max. Today was a personal best for me in that I did my max of 405 for 5 single set reps. Prior to this day, I was only able to do 2 single set reps of 405, and initially today my goal was to go for 7. However, the sciatica started kicking in right around set number 4, and at that point I decided it was probably a better idea to take it easy and move on. So my max weight is done, my ego is stroked. Now it's time to incorporate a different challenge, the challenge of instability, and I do so by using one of my favorite tools now, which is the Bosu ball. Still doing deadlifts, same exercise, but with an intense balance challenge. I generally always begin my workouts with some form of leg exercise, and to me the deadlifts, they really hit everything. All your legs, your core, back, shoulders, everything. But the importance of starting off workouts with leg exercises and always incorporating some form of leg exercises in your workouts is multifaceted. 1, you're going to burn more calories by doing leg exercises. 2, and this is for you fellas out there, testosterone in men is what helps us build muscle. You unleash the testosterone or release it by activating your legs, in particular your upper thighs and glutes. Therefore, by doing standing exercises as opposed to seated exercises, you're going to burn more calories. You're going to activate your natural human growth hormone in the form of testosterone. Add in the Bosu ball for balance work, and your legs are going to constantly be engaged. Even if you're doing a light workout, light loads on the Bosu ball, your legs are going to be intensely on fire and therefore constantly releasing human growth hormone, or in the form of testosterone, to help you build muscle in the rest of your body. As you've noticed, I've begun to use resistance bands on the bar as I do my deadlifts. The idea of bands, resistance bands in isolation, is for power, or increasing the rate of speed in which the muscles contract. So the idea of working with bands in isolation is to be under control, but to go through the exercise really, really fast and explosive. Power is simply exerting the most force possible in the shortest amount of time. Or, as the old equation goes, power equals force times velocity. Therefore, any increase in either force or velocity will increase your power or explosiveness. You can accomplish this in one or two ways. You can either increase the load, or your weights, which is the force, in progressive strength training, or you can increase the speed with which you move a load, which is your velocity. I'm always carrying around 3 bands, and they're all of the thickest gauge that my gym has available. On this day, this set at this specific weight range, my best was 2 bands. I can get 3, but this day I wasn't feeling it. Moving on to bent over rows. Using the barbell, I just like to initially stand on the ground. That's to get my max reps, max weight out the way, as my goals are more for maximal strength. First set, I use the double over grip. My hand placement is pretty much the same as it is when I do bench press. Second set, the guy kicking me in the background. Second set will be double under grip, so I get both sides of my forearms, and it has a slight difference in positioning on the back as well. Here with the bent over rows, much like you saw with the deadlifts and pretty much any barbell exercise that I do, I progress through my loads fast. So I will get to my maximal 1 rep max range, or three reps in this case, range rather quickly. Before progressing on to a different weight load, I am sure to hit a set of double over grip and double under grip. And here we are back to the Bosu ball and using the bands incorporated in my bent over rows. And I've broken down the weight because I want to get some quality reps in with the bands and work on speed, pulling the weight up faster, along with the balance stabilization, and obviously form. As you may have noticed, when I was standing on the ground, my foot placement was wider than it is on the Bosu ball. A lot of people make a lot of noise about foot placement or your stance or what have you. I just do what's comfortable and what works for me. My foot placement on the ground typically is the same that I use when I do squats. Sometimes squats may be a little bit wider, slightly wider than shoulder length. The difference for me is that I know when I get on the Bosu ball, I'm going to automatically be in a narrower stance. So I don't really worry about stances too much. Onward march to shoulder press. Don't think that I just jumped straight into this weight range in my shoulder press. I actually started off with just a single plate, 135, and but I made a mistake in actually thinking that I taped it when I didn't. I forgot to press record. But the first set was actually 135. It was 10 reps of alternating front and back shoulder press. So it was in front of the head, behind the head, alternating each rep. When I get into this weight range while doing shoulder press, I generally say a prayer for my rotator cuffs, and I do not break a 90-degree plane with my elbows. I generally just let the bar lightly touch the top of my head and press back up, because it is dangerous to break a 90-degree plane going any lower than that with this weight range. After breaking the weight back down, I attempted to incorporate the bands into my shoulder presses. As you could see, I initially was going to attempt to do the in front of the head, behind the head shoulder presses with these bands, but the bar hit the tongue and I just didn't feel like stopping, so I just went on ahead and just continued going behind the head. Added in a second band. Clearly, as you can see, I'm more comfortable with breaking a 90-degree plane with my elbows, doing behind the head shoulder press at this weight. Use a spotter, people. On to dumbbell rows, but with an unstable twist. One of the personal trainers at my gym is always challenging me to try different stuff because he knows I'll try anything in the gym, likely at least once. And he showed me these. I'd seen these before, but I never thought to try them myself. Clearly, I got my knee up on the bench with one leg back, acting almost as a rudder for balance, and doing dumbbell rows that way. It makes it so that you're not able to create so much momentum standing on the ground like you see a lot of guys do, a lot of people do that use heavy weight when doing dumbbell rows. They always do these great heaves of momentum, trying to get the weight up there, and that's their thing. But for me, I like control, and I feel like if I have to go slower, if I get less reps, as I increase weight, as long as the motion is clean and efficient, then I feel like I'm getting good work out of it. Typically, when you see guys creating a lot of momentum doing dumbbell rows on the ground with heavy weight, it's generally because they're trying to gain a lot of lean body mass, or really trying to max out their gains. For me, again, my thing in the gym is more so overall athleticism, neuromuscular activity, strength, and balance. Balance and focus. You guys may be wondering, but when you see me rub my hands on the ground or rub my hands on the dumbbells, I call that just poor man's chalk, and basically just using the dust and in the gym on my hands to kind of dry my hands up, because my hands sweat a lot, and my gym, unfortunately, they do not allow chalk in the gym, so I think that's a totally stupid rule. But yeah, it's just poor man's chalk. That's all it is. Dust. Something I wanted to mention too also is that it's very important to have a relatively balanced ratio of pulling movements to pressing movements. A lot of people get caught up in the gym, especially, the heavy lifters get caught up in just pressing, bench press, shoulder press, and not in the pulling movements. And what can happen is that because of the overactivity of the muscle and in terms of tightness or soreness after lifting weights, if you're doing too many pressing movements, the front of the body, the interior part of the body, will get tight, and it'll pull actually your shoulders forward, and ultimately you'll have like a rounded shoulder condition, which is known as the upper cross syndrome. Ultimately can have an adverse effect on the spine, particularly the cervical spine, and cause the neck and head, your head to protrude forward, and it can just wind up being cause serious problems later. So be sure to do your best to try to balance it out in the gym, back and the front part of the body. Here I'm doing some front shoulder raises on the Bosu ball, obviously on one foot. You saw me lose my balance a little bit earlier. Just alternating feet with each set. Relatively light, going for like a 8 to 12 rep range in general. And again, I'm in love with the Bosu ball. I love the stability ball too. And it's just a great challenge. I'm sorry for that angle in the beginning, but here's a better one. As I do single leg lateral shoulder raises on the Bosu ball. Lifting like this on the Bosu ball, it is a very good challenge to your core, and really strengthening your core so that you can maintain good posture while standing up there. Because again, if you do not have good posture, if you try to do some crazy momentum heaves on the Bosu ball, or doing those dumbbell rows with one leg up, you really will fall. This is a super intense challenge, and again, standing exercises result in greater caloric burn. So you want to burn more calories, you got to be standing up. You really want to make it extra challenging and even burn more, do it on the Bosu ball standing up, one leg. At this point I was pretty much toast, but my other love is the stability ball, and I attempted to do some Arnold presses on the stability ball here. Again, that stability ball is going to put your core to work, and it will force you to have good posture when exercising on it. I was attempting to superset the seated Arnold presses with the stability ball Arnold presses, but it didn't turn out quite as I had planned. I was pretty much petering out at this point. But this is generally, with some amendments, my shoulders and back routine. I hope you guys got something from it. Thank you for checking me out. Kinetabolics. Thank you. Peace.